Nothing at
I
all.
thought I was gonna what I was gonna ask is for you. You said it flowed quite nicely,
Yeah.
but I think so. I felt that everything explained itself too obviously and really, really quickly, and there was no suspense and kind of no question at any point to the plot. Did you not feel that, or
No,
did
I
you
did. I
think
got that. I got that. But I
pacing was
think
fine?
I got that. But I think I accepted it quite early on that that's the kind of film that it's going to be. And maybe by doing that, I was able to invest a little bit more in it as a whole. Maybe didn't close the door too early on that. I can see what you mean by that. But as a whole in a story, the story flowed really well. There are enough plot devices in there, enough subplots. But as sketchy as some of them were, they all interlinked as the film went on, and by the end they all came to a rounded conclusion. So, as a whole
you feel
narrative
tense?
structure, that worked. See you
Yeah,
later.
did you ever feel like tense watching certain scenes playing out? Like,
No, only I did feel some genuine shock when the guy got shot in the street once check bounced. I really still wasn't quite expecting that. I didn't know whether they'd have from what you'd seen before, about whether they got the courage to actually do something like that in terms of more violence than just shooting the people in the bed. I mean, that as well, when he did that, I don't know. It kept me on my heels slightly. It kept me on my toes slightly, even, should I say. But no, there were moments, but it isn't the most compelling or in-depth of scripts. You could say that, but I can't deny that it didn't work. What about you, James? What did you think? Is there anything good that you liked in it?
I think probably some of my favourite scenes were when they just had the old fellas and the bandit and whatnot all sat around the TV just having a bit of a chat. Like, I thought those were probably the nicest scenes. And then my favourite bit of the whole film was when they had that shot going up through the hotel and you got an insight into every single person's room and you saw what every single person was doing for that evening, and it was just a little microcosm of their situation at the time when you were going through up every window. And I thought that was brilliant. I absolutely loved that bit. I thought that was so good. But then there was nothing else around it that suggested that the rest of the film would be made by the same person that shot that shot. Because I thought that was so good.
This is what I mean. Is I think I've. This is what. Go on, Liam.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure he just stole that straight from Hitchcock.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? There was. This is the thing.
Exactly like that. I think he's just copied and pasted it into his otherwise.
Yeah. This is a point actually I was going to mention is. Like what you're saying that the cinematography tried, but half of it and the film itself reminded me of other stuff. I was constantly reminded of just from certain shots, whether it's Hitchcock in terms of the camera work, or even just suddenly getting like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid vibes from it and stuff like that. I was just there were bits that I was just like, is this really authentically your own work, or have you just sort of taken components of really good films and just sort of remolded them into your own with your own characters in your own Turkish setting? There were quite a few moments that I was sat there thinking, I feel like I've seen that before somewhere.
In one of the bar scenes when they were like playing Turkish music and stuff, it felt like Mos Eisley or something.
Yeah, I was even getting like bits of. I was even getting bits of like Godfather vibe from it and stuff.
The camera's just moving around, like panning around this place, and this guy's playing his booty drums and shit.
Yeah,
and it's interesting seeing the sort of mid-90s version of like early pop rock Turkish music.
It's weird. It was very weird.
I'm not that familiar with Turkish music, but that was a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, maybe this review is going to be a little bit shorter than all the others, but I can tell you for a fact that this film did win. Forgive the name. It won a Bogey Award, which when the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's just going to be like a Raspberry Award or something like that." But actually, in Germany, it's the awards that you get for getting 1 million people go see the film within the first 10 days in Germany. So
Huge Turkish population.
Exactly. They got loads. Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, and a huge turnout. Then. A million tickets sold to go see it within the first 10 days. So 100,000 people a day saw it. So maybe it's just it's a certain part of Europe thing. Like we can be so critical because we have all this accessible cinema from that period. We were only talking earlier today about how outrageous some of the years for cinema were in the mid-90s. And then you compare this up with all of those, and it's just not even close. But then, you know, for Turkey and maybe some other countries in Europe, you know, they might have been some really good pieces of cinema to go watch. And for Turkish cinema, I don't know, Liam, you say you've watched quite a lot, but for me, I haven't, and so I haven't actually got much to compare it to, and I don't suppose many of you guys do either. So you're probably best positioned now to compare it.
Watch one of his films at some point and just tell me what you think.
Yeah, well, you're probably best to compare it, like in terms of Turkish cinema, and you say it's subpar to some of the other stuff, but it is classed up there with one of the top 10 Turkish films ever, and it is in the IMDb top 250, isn't it? Don't quite know how, but
and a river runs through it isn't. That is just such a crying shame.
Okay, well, closing thoughts on the film then. Jem, since it's your film, what your closing thoughts on as a whole?
I thought that the plot was a nice idea. It was just too poor an execution to keep it interesting watching it today. Perhaps 20 years ago it might be interesting and it was great for Turkish cinema, but certainly today it does not hold up very well. And it probably isn't worth your time watching.
And presumably the rest of you all agree.
Yeah.
Everything that needs to be said has been said.
Yeah,
I think.
I do agree. I'm not quite as critical about it as you guys are. I think I quite enjoyed watching it. I thought there were some themes in there that were really good. It was a well written script as a story. I thought the narrative structure flowed really well. And I don't know if it was this director's first film, but if it was, it wouldn't be a bad attempt. It would be more excusable if it was. But I'm not quite as critical about it as you guys are, and I quite... hang on, here you go, director. It was his 5th film. So...
Out of 5?
Out of 8. He didn't make another film for 9 years after this one. He was living off the success of it. He was living off
the German earnings.
Living off all the money.
He was apologising to 1 million people for 9 years.
All right. Well, in which case, shall we rate it? Liam, do you want to go first?
This is funny, actually. I've never gone this low. 4.8.
Wait, what?
That's below average. 5 is bang average.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said 0.8. Bloody hell. This is quite funny, actually. 0.8.
Just dragging the average down.
So 4.8.
4.8.
Right. James?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.6.
Jesus
below
Christ,
average.
lads.
Wouldn't watch it again.
Gub?
Me?
Yes.
Genuinely a 2. I wasn't exaggerating. I genuinely think it might be one of the worst films I've ever seen.
What?
Like I've never seen acting so bad that's meant to be good. Like it's so like I compare it to Hindi films because that's like the only other, I guess, similar-ish foreign films. Because like most of the other foreign films you tend to have quite like rich film culture anyway, like Nordic or like Korean or Japanese or like Chinese, like all those countries tend to have pretty good film culture. So like I've never seen anything from sort of Middle East or Asia's probably like India's the only ones I've seen. And at least they have like a charm to it and they have like other things going on and they're kind of kitsch in a way. Whereas this really wasn't trying to be kitsch. This was really trying to be serious. And I just felt it just felt so amateurish that it was painful to watch.
God damn. Jem?
Give it a 4.
Jesus Christ, lads.
Go on, bank gun. You got to pull the average up now.
Gonna give it a 9.1.
Get it above 5.
9.1 on that one. No, I'm gonna give it a 6.8 because I genuinely don't believe it's as bad as you people believe at all. But that doesn't help the average at all.
I'm just curious as to what's a 6.9 or a 7. Like,
Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Okay, let me just work out this then.
You give Mulholland Drive lower than that?
I preferred it to Mulholland Drive. Yeah. I preferred watching it than I did to Mulholland. I gave Mulholland Drive 6.5. I think.
Oh, good thing I missed that one.
Yeah,
Mulholland Drive was actually great.
I will watch it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I personally I preferred watching it. It depends if you're looking at it as enjoyment level or film level. I think this week most of you guys have been looking at it as more of on a critical level, but it comes hand in hand.
No, I struggle to enjoy it because of the difficulties of watching it. Yeah, there's a lot of films you stick on what's something shit from them, like Paul Blart. Yeah, and at least there's some redeeming quality in it. Occasionally you might laugh or but
The Intern.
I had nothing from it. I couldn't watch it and not criticize it, and I just was like,
Yeah.
If I worked that out right, then it works out as a 4.4.
it is making me think there was a 3.
Well,
It's.
I can tell you now.
Gotta think how bad you thought this film was, and you're giving it just under a 5. Like, what is your 2? Stick
Good
figure.
point.
I don't think I'll finish it. I think it's
It's
two,
not
I
the
don't
worst
finish
film.
the film.
It's not the
I
worst
wouldn't have
film on
finished
here.
this unless I had to review it with you guys today.
Yeah, see, no, if I'm watching a 2, even if you guys have recommended it, I'm not finishing it. I'm just going to come in and say, guys, I couldn't finish it. It was
Yeah.
fucking awful.
I only did it just because I thought that it would. I wanted to get to the end in case something happened at the end that I could say in this film I liked.
But
That's the only reason I watched
Yeah,
it.
that's not
There
2.
obviously is a bit of a
Yeah,
bias.
two
It is
is.
a 2. It is.
I think there is a bias for films you watch. Obviously, you get recommended films that your mates say are good. So you hear have good reviews. So you're never going to sit down and go, "Oh, I feel like I won tonight." You get this bias towards good films. So it seems weird giving numbers that low, but actually they do exist. I'm sure there's probably
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
more films around the average there. They just, for some reason, don't appear on the.
Well, on the QTAS top list of all films reviewed, it is not bottom. It's second bottom of the 4.4.
What's bottom?
Oh man, I reviewed one at London Film Festival last year, which was garbage, absolute garbage, and deserved to be down there. It's 197th on our list of reviews out of 198. So
Oh my god! Can we have a celebration for the 200th?
yeah, well, we're not far off. It's going to be just around the corner, isn't it? So, well, that's end that there. So it's Eskiya, the Bandit. It got an outrageous rate. Well, Jem, what did it get on IMDb?
I think it's something like 8.2.
8.3.
And we gave it a 4.4. So
We'll bring
well
it down,
in
don't worry.
We're the people's opinion.